Well, as John Taylor reported earlier, the flood report raises questions about the way the Wivenhoe Dam was managed and recommends in future that water levels be reduced if floods look likely. 11th hour releases from the dam this year were responsible for more than half of the floodwater in Brisbane. To respond to that issue and others, I spoke earlier to the Queensland Premier, Bligh. Premier, the report says your Energy and Water Utilities Minister Stephen Robertson sought advice last October about possibly reducing the water levels in Wivenhoe Dam because of the warnings of an unusually intense wet season. Why didn't he follow through on that?
The Minister provided evidence to the Commission that he met with the relevant water authorities personally in December. He was provided with a verbal briefing to the effect that the reduction that they thought possible would have a negligible effect, and they backed that up in written form some weeks later. What is clear from the report, there is no evidence to suggest at any point that the Minister was provided with any advice other than there would be no benefit from lowering the dam levels.
The report does find, though, that he asked the state's water grid manager for advice, a body that's not responsible for dam levels. That was the only advice he sought. He didn't ask the relevant department. Is that good enough?
The report finds that there was some confusion about the role of various water authorities. What it doesn't find is that there was any disagreement between them. The water grid manager took advice from SEQ Water and on the basis of all of that provided written advice to the Minister.
Was the Minister thorough enough in the advice that he sought?
Well, he sought the advice from the relevant water authorities. What the report finds, though, and you would expect, that in retrospect and with the benefit of hindsight, the report will find, thankfully, there are things we can do better. And they say that there should be less confusion and more clarity. That's something we can achieve through legislation, and we will.
Well, on that point of the confusion, it says that the Minister did nothing to resolve that. Is it clear today who would give advice about possible dam level reduction and who would be the person to make the final decision on that?
There's always been clarity about who makes the final decision, and that is the Minister. That's why the Minister sought advice, and it's why he took the advice that he was given. While there was some confusion about who should provide advice and in what order, there was no confusion or lack of clarity about the actual advice. The actual advice in writing at the time, the best available information that people had was that there should not be a lowering of the dam. There's no lack of clarity about the ultimate decision maker. That's the Minister, and he accepts that responsibility, and that's why he asks for the advice. And I think the view of the Commission set out very clearly now makes it absolutely clear what everybody's role in it is, and I think legislating that will avoid any confusion in the future.
So how quickly will you be able to get to a position where that confusion will be avoided? Because what Queenslanders would want to know is if we're confronted with a situation like this again in the next wet season, will we avoid what happened this year?
Well, I think a couple of things need to be taken into account. Firstly, the Commission proposes a clear set of roles. That operates, as far as I'm concerned, from today. We will legislate that so that if this event happens in 12 years' time, that clarity will still be there. So the clarity is there from today. Secondly, I think what would help us avoid this in the future is the understanding that we now have about the scale of possible rainfall and disasters that can confront us. I think it's fair to say that everybody, every single person in this event, from the most junior to the most senior, now that we've been through it and lived through it, and we can see it through the benefit of hindsight, we understand it better, and everyone will be much better prepared and much more able to grasp something of that magnitude as possible.
Have you read the report in detail, Premier?
I've read all of the recommendations, and I've made my way through most of the parts that have been identified as potentially more contentious that people would want me to be commenting on. But it is 206 pages long. I will plough through it systematically through the next 24 hours.
How can you've come out today and said that you will implement all 104 recommendations. How can you do that without having fully read the report?
We've gone through the recommendations, and it's clear that they are all. They're very sensible, very common sense, and on the face of it, very affordable. So I think the investment that's necessary here when you have a commission of inquiry, I don't think they're frivolous people. They're people who have thought very carefully about what will make the biggest difference, and the investment in that is an investment that will keep us safe.
On another matter, Labor has scuttled another leader, this time in South Australia, with Mike Rann told to step aside. Given the way Queensland Labor is travelling in the polls, are you bracing for a knife in your back?
Lee will be going to an election in 2012. I'll be leading the Labor Party into that election.
Very confident
and the
of
people of Queensland will make a decision about who they want to lead our state. I have a very firm view that's, I think, shared by my caucus, that people make premiers, and it'll be a decision of the Queensland people who leads our state, and that's the way it should be.
Labor seems to have a habit lately of changing leaders when things aren't so good in the polls. You're not anxious about that?
I don't think that's what you see in Queensland. What you see in Queensland is a very united team that's gone through some very tough times, has held their nerve, has remembered how important unity is in governing, and understood that lesson of history. And what you see is a team that's capable of getting through the tough times as well as the good times, and I think that's absolutely important to government.
Anna Bligh, thank you very much.
Thank you.